Okay, curriculum. So, the hardest subject for me is language arts. I know a lot of moms think math or science. Me, it's language arts. So, I don't want this video to be too long, but I do want to show you what we did, what worked. So, let me start with something positive first. That's always a good thing. I realized over winter semester, as I was teaching a personal finance class to kids, including my daughter, that she did not know how to sign her name in cursive on a check. She didn't know how to sign a check. I was teaching them that. But she didn't know cursive. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to teach her cursive. So I really stewed about what to buy. Bought Handwriting Without Tears. Some people call it Handwriting with Tears. But for us, it worked really well. She would do 2 pages a day. And it starts out, basically where they're doing the letter. And then they get into more copy work. And she started it, I want to say, like in February. And by April, she was done. And now, when she needs to write her name on something, or she, is making a card for somebody or something, she writes her name in cursive. So that was a win for me. Really, and not too expensive either. And I had looked at printing worksheets off online, all kinds of stuff. That worked for us. Okay. Like I said, language arts is the hardest for me. I've done lots of different programs in the 2 years that we've been homeschooling. I tend to switch during the year. So I decided, I saw somebody posted online these workbooks that were out of Florida. You could print all the pages off, and I was able to see what was inside the workbooks, and I really liked them. And I realized I could go on eBay or Amazon and buy them for just as cheap, if not cheaper, than what it was going to cost me to print them. So I did that. So I bought, this one is spelling, and this was Florida Treasures. It's out of Florida. I guess they use it in the public schools. I don't know. But it starts the week with a spelling test, and then it has daily activities for them to do. Daily activities for them to do with the spelling words, and then you end the week with a spelling test again. What I found was, it's always hard to figure out a kid's exact spelling level, and we had used Spelling Power, and I did not like it. So what I found was, if she got 100% on her beginning of the week test, I didn't make her do the whole week. We might talk about a few words if she didn't know what they meant, but I didn't make her do all the busy work. We would just move on to the next week and maybe do a page or 2 and call it good. So we did that. I also have this series they have one called the Grammar Practice Book. Same concept, not necessarily a test, but daily worksheets that are around a certain concept or theme. And so she would do those. And what I found with those, I had those, that book, and then I had a bunch of workbooks. And so if she was working on prepositions, then I would find prepositions in the other workbooks in case we needed some extra practice or whatever. But what I found was, if she knew the concept and she was flying through, then I didn't make her do the whole week. We didn't need to do prepositions for the whole week if she knew how to do those. And so I would have her do 1 or 2 pages, depending on how quickly she did them, and if she could show me that she'd mastered the concept, we just moved on. And so she finished a whole workbook of that, plus we're almost done with a second workbook of that for the year, because I went through and picked out things rather than, again, having her do the whole book. So these worked out well for us. Some things that we struggled with, my daughter takes a writing class, or took a writing class. Writing's a really hard thing to teach, and she's a reluctant writer, and she has some fine motor issues, and so that was hard. Writing has been hard for her. We found that typing is great for her, but the actual act of writing is hard for her. But she took a writing class to basically try to get things down on paper. And I wasn't worried so much about the grammar. I just wanted her to get her thoughts out and organize her thoughts. We also had this book, Daily 6 Traits of Writing. And it has an activity, you know, week 3, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, where they do different activities in the book. It was okay. I like the idea of a daily activity. I do like that, and I've actually considered buying these types of books in other subjects. But I think because writing is so hard for her, I mean, she was okay with it, but was I in love with it? No. And so I need to go through and figure out what, if anything, we're going to finish out of this and call it good. Okay, so I realized halfway during the year that we really needed to work on her reading. We were doing a lot of reading in history, but I really wanted to do some reading. I felt like I wanted to do a reading program that had activities that went along with it, because we weren't doing that with our history. And so this was highly recommended. Sorry about the glare. Learning language arts through literature. And basically you read a book, and there's, you know, a famous book like The Boxcar Children. And then there's activities, that go along with that. And we read The Boxcar Children, and she loved it. And one of my memories of homeschool that I will have of her for a long time is one day she didn't want to put The Boxcar Children down. And as a mom, you know, you're like, oh, because she loved reading that story so much. And so we kind of let the rest of the subjects go for the day, and I let her read for like an hour and a half, and I was thrilled because this is a child who doesn't normally like to read. So for that, I thank these guys because they got us reading that book, and she started to realize that books can be fun. But the activities in here I wasn't really thrilled with. She wasn't really thrilled with. Just wasn't. I struggle with an all-in-one where they do grammar, reading, vocabulary, spelling, writing, poetry, creative writing. I struggle with that because kids learn so differently, even within language arts, that I don't think that one curriculum can do that for you. Okay, this video is getting really long. I'm really sorry. Okay, history. Oh, one last thing. I did buy a Becca. I thought I was going to do a Becca language arts for her. I was really impressed. You know, they have the really cool teacher manual, the workbook, and all this stuff. And I had to buy most of it brand new and got it home, and the whole thing gave me a complete headache. And so we didn't even start it. So if anyone's interested in a Becca, I have, I believe, grades 3 and 4, and a lot of the readers, and everything is in good condition, if not new. I'd be happy to sell it to you. Just let me know. Okay, so history. I really wanted to do U.S. history, and I can get into that with you at another time. That would make an interesting video. But I wanted to read about famous people. Again, on the Becca kick, I saw Becca's program. I noticed that once you get to 4th grade, it gets pretty intense, and I just wanted it to be really casual. So we bought this book. We read about famous people. It was great. We did not do any of the work that went with it or the test or anything. Then we also did Story of the World. We actually did number 2 and have started number 3. I struggled with number 2, not thinking I would like it very much. But I ended up really liking it, and we liked number 3, and it ties in well with what we're doing this fall, which will be in another video for you. Okay, health. I tried to do a Becca. She hated it. We did the American Girl books, The Care and Keeping of You. Great, wonderful, worked for us. Finally, our math curriculum. We've done 3, we've done 4, we're almost done with 5, and we're doing 6 next year. It's been great. So I hope that helps you, and let me know what you're using, and subscribe below. I'd love to hear from you, hear what you're using, hear what works, and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.